Okay, everybody. So there has been an update to the grading policy. I sent you that email with the message with some details and bullets. This should help clear some of that up. If not, there's a meeting at 9. I sent a link to that. So um, basically what we're doing is saying, okay, kids will have an option to choose credit or incomplete or letter grade. Now, by default, kids will be put into the credit incomplete model. Kids who want to or who elect to take letter grades will have to fill out a Google form May 19th. I'll get to more of that here in just a minute. So credit incomplete, the definition still doesn't change. It's still the same thing. They'll earn credit. If they don't earn credit, they'll get an incomplete and have to take it into summer school or remediate it at another time. That's a district-held or district-wide initiative. That's not, each teacher isn't going to have to be responsible for tracking or making up assignments for the kid to receive credit. Won't be your job to handle that piece. Now, letter grades, still the same thing. Still factored in the GPA, issued at the second semester, still can't be lower than the third quarter grade. Now, something to just consider with letter grades right now. So pretty much every college has come out and said that this semester isn't really going to factor into admissions. In other words, kids aren't going to be punished for this. We recently got information from the UCs that they were not going to require the ELC submission this year, which is basically a document containing the top 15% of all of our junior students and their GPAs. Them coming out and saying that is basically saying, yeah, this semester isn't going to count. We're not really looking at GPAs. Now, based on what we're hearing from other schools, that really feels like what's happening all over the place. So when you're doing your grades, when you're playing with your gradebook, understand an A right now is not the same as a normal A. Colleges know that. We know that. So don't overthink it. It's not the same thing. The transcript's going to be noted with something that says COVID on it. Like it will be remembered that this is not a standard A, if that makes sense. So how does it impact college admissions? Again, colleges have said just from the beginning that they'll accept varying types of transcripts. Students won't be penalized for anything. And again, based on what we've seen, essentially colleges are just not going to factor this semester into admissions, whether it's grades, whether it's credit, no credit, whether it's mixed, just aren't going to factor it in. So that's just kind of where it's at right now. Is one option preferred over the other? So at this point, no, we haven't seen any colleges say, hey, we want letter grades, or hey, we want credit, no credit. That being said, I think one of the things we want to potentially consider is advising students to either take all classes credit or all classes grades. Because if I'm an admissions officer and I look at a kid's transcript and it says, again, you got an A in math and then credit in English, right away, that infers that, wait a minute, what happened in English here? Had that student gotten an A or potentially a B, they would have taken that letter grade. So this idea of kind of piecemealing it probably isn't the best. That being said, maybe there is a time when it works. But for the most part, I think we're better off recommending that kids either do all or none. This next thing is just a piece from Duke Admissions. Again, talking about holistic. Anytime you see holistic admissions or applications, it's basically this idea that they don't just look at transcripts and test scores. It's letters of rec, it's entrance, it's essays, more than just the transcript. Again, same thing from Pitzer College. Continuing practice holistic admissions. Lack of letter grade will not impact merit-based scholarships, etc., etc. Now, what does a student need to do if they want a letter grade? So again, default, if kids just don't go to credit or no credit, fine. Default, they're in. No problem. Don't do anything. If they want a letter grade, they're going to have to submit a Google form that will be sent out on May 19th. It has to be submitted by 3 o'clock on May 22nd. Sorry, let me get to this next slide here. Excuse me, sorry. What'll happen on that May 22nd, that'll go down to the district. They'll disaggregate it by site and then by teachers. And then on May 26th, we'll have a list for you of here's what your kids' options were, what they asked for, if you don't already know it. That'll help you when it comes time to putting in the grades. Now, there will be additional time set aside for teachers to do grades because, again, basically what we're saying is hey, in order for kids to choose, they need to kind of know what their grades are by May 18th, so that they can submit this stuff, and make the right choice. So there'll be time built in for you guys if you need it to tweak grades or input grades. I apologize, based on like having information where kids are or aren't taking letter grades. This is just something for the site to worry about. I would say there's a link down here, the link to college input on mixed grading options. You may want to take a look at that. I'm going to send you guys these slides, because you're welcome to use them with kids. But right now, we got someone at the district who's actually calling all sorts of universities and getting specific contact from people, basically saying, "Hey, what are you doing with grades this semester?" The next thing, so for kids, like I said, they'll have the opportunity to receive or to elect to receive a letter grade from May 19th to the 22nd. The district will send out that Google form, and then they'll have to complete it. By May 26th, you'll have that week and that last week of school to update and finalize second semester grades, and go from there. For teachers, so this is the part that there's still some questions on what it looks like. So at this point, restoring gradebooks to show grades and continue to maintain an AF scale, because again, this will help them when it comes time to select their options. Now, for some of you who jumped to third quarter and now to a quarter system and participation, I'm not exactly sure what each of you did, but like I said before, don't overthink it. Maybe just transfer those back in. If they were 100% participation, maybe it's a 100-point assignment and they got 100 points out of 100 points. If they were 90% participation, some version of that is probably going to be the best bet. And again, you'll see this here. Teacher's gradebook finalized no later than May 18th. Again, that will give students the opportunity to choose credit or letter grades. Still doing the same district ruling guidelines, enrichment, student engagement. We'll get that data on the 26th and get that out to you. Again, credit incomplete, but I'm sorry, third quarter grades. There'll still be that floor, and we'll cross-reference things to kind of make sure there's no issues there. So that's something that we'll be working on. And you'll have the end of the business day on May 29th to input final grades for the semester. Again, I know this is not ideal, guys. But like I said, I think the key comes down to listen, don't overthink this. There's not going to be a clean method. Be fair with kids. Be kind of more accommodating. At the end of the day, this A, everyone knows this A doesn't mean the same A, or this B isn't the same B, or C, same C. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you're grappling over something, it's probably not worth the time to grapple over it. So just consider that when you're doing this. Again, next steps here, this is teacher-wise. Again, same thing, just in kind of an easier to read form. Again, you can pause it there if you need more. And this is just something that I think from a district, talking about this idea of grace and patience, definitely something that we need to keep in mind during all this. So anyway, thank you guys for your patience, and please let me know if you have questions as we go through this. There's a meeting, like I said, at 9 o'clock, and the link was sent. Thank you guys, and hang in there.